Alright, what's up everybody? Derek here from Simnett Nutrition. Welcome back to another video. So have any of you guys ever tried any of these crazy tasting grapes? So these ones on this side, the green ones, are called cotton candy grapes, and just like the name describes, they taste just like cotton candy. And then these purple ones here were new to me, and I found them right beside the cotton candy grapes, and these ones are called gumdrop grapes. And sure enough, they taste just like bubble gum. It's crazy. So it got me thinking, like, how the heck do they make grapes taste like cotton candy and like bubble gum? And I know it's not a GMO thing because it says right on the package that these are non-GMO. So they've got to be hybridized. But then I got thinking, like, what does that even mean? Like, what are they hybridizing? Like, what are they combining with grapes to make it taste like cotton candy? I don't think they're actually using cotton candy. So yeah, it just made me wonder, like, what does hybridization of our food even mean? So that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. What hybridized foods are, what's the difference between hybridized foods and GMOs, how do they actually make hybridized foods like this, and then also what are some of the more commonly hybridized foods that we eat. I think I could say that word anymore, probably not. So this video isn't really going to be like my opinion on if GMOs are good or bad. There's really not much about GMOs in this video, but I just think it's interesting to differentiate the difference between the two because a lot of people seem to get hybridized foods and GMOs confused and don't understand the difference. So that's what we're going to talk about today, amongst other things. So what is the difference between hybrid and GMO foods? So to create GM foods, scientists actually take a piece of DNA that represents a certain trait from one organism, which can be anything from a virus, bacteria, other plant, or even an insect, and they then insert that piece of DNA into the target plant in the hopes that the desired result is achieved. So here's a quick infographic on all the genetically modified foods that are currently grown and sold in North America. But there really aren't that many GM foods, as you can see. And there's actually some that have been taken off the market for various reasons. But that's not what this video is about. If you guys want me to go into more on GM foods, let me know in the comments down below. So then we have hybridization, and this is basically when one plant gets cross-pollinated with another plant. So this can occur in nature. I mean, just the act of a bee or insect taking pollen from one plant to another can result in hybridization. But usually when we're referring to hybridized foods, we're talking about one that man has had a hand in and he has hybridized for a certain desired result. So there's lots of reasons why they genetically modify or hybridize foods. And flavor, like with these grapes, is obviously one of them. But most of the time it's for more practical reasons, such as like improving yield, increasing drought resistance or pest resistance. They also will use it to reduce its susceptibility to mold, which is really common with grapes. They also do it to quicken ripening, to help it like not go bad during the transportation process. There's tons of different reasons why they're doing this to our food. So some plants, like these grapes, have been crossbred so much that they don't actually produce seeds anymore, and they have to be cloned by hand. So think of a banana, for instance. These little tiny specks that you see in here are remnants of seeds, but they are not actually banana seeds. If you try and plant these, you will definitely not grow a banana plant from it. So this isn't good because it means that there's no genetic diversity, and it opens it up to being susceptible to being taken out by disease. We know this happened with the Gros Michel banana from decades ago. It's completely gone now, and there's actually a worry that it's going to happen with the modern day Cavendish banana that we know and love. So I'm just praying that that doesn't happen, because what the heck am I going to make my smoothies out of? However, even if they did produce seeds, it probably wouldn't be very helpful anyways, because hybridized plants tend to produce seeds that don't grow the same type of plant as the parent plant does. There'll be genetic differences, and this is just because of the variation in genetics. So this is really bad for farmers because they like to grow hybridized foods because they've usually been bred to increase yield and be pest resistant and all this sort of stuff. However, they can't then save those seeds and grow their crops the next year. They actually have to continue to buy new seeds every single year and then plant those. So if you do want a plant whose seeds you can save and then regrow, you want an heirloom plant. And you guys have probably heard this term before. And what it means is basically that the genetics or the DNA hasn't changed very much in the last 50 to 100 years. And most of the time they will produce plants that are true to seed. So for these reasons, much of the food that we see in the produce section has been hybridized one way or another. And obviously it doesn't mean that it's bad, it just means that they've been selectively bred for a certain trait. So let's talk about a few of the common foods that we eat that are hybridized. So a couple interesting ones. The grapefruit was actually created when a farmer planted some orange trees beside a pomelo tree. So even the Hass avocado that we all know and love, the one with the bumpy skin, well, this was created by hybridizing Mexican and Guatemalan avocado. And then this tomato that you see me slicing up here, this is a hybridized version that's actually called the early girl tomato. And the early girl tomato was created as an early ripening tomato for climates very much like the one we have here, because we have a very short growing season, we have extremes in temperatures, and it is absolutely great for growing here. Back in the 1600s, they really started to realize the benefits and just how much more variety of foods that they could get in more edible parts of each food if they hybridized and crossbred these plants together. And this is actually when they created a lot of the brassicas that we know and love today. And it all came from the wild mustard plant. So you can see in this infographic here the parts of the plant that they targeted in order to create the plants that they were looking for. So let's talk about the grapes. How do they actually get them to taste like candy? Like, what sort of cross-pollination, hybridization is going on here? And how do they do it? So an important thing to know about grape flowers, and the same goes for tomato flowers, and there's a lot of other plants that are like this, is they are self-pollinating, which means that they contain both the male and female parts on each flower. And this is why I always tell you guys to diddle your tomatoes, or to shake the tomato flowers, because that's really all it takes to fertilize these flowers that have both male and female parts. Whether it just be like a bee going in there or just the wind kind of agitating them, that's enough to fertilize it. However, when you're trying to hybridize a plant, you don't want that. You don't want it fertilizing itself. So what they have to do with the grape flowers is they actually have to pluck off each male part off of each flower, and then take the flower from another grape plant with the desired qualities and dust the female flowers with that pollen. But it's not over there. Then they actually have to bag that fertilized bunch of flowers so that it doesn't get cross-pollinated from, bugs or wind or anything else that's around. So after those grapes grow, they actually use some technology to look at the DNA to figure out if the desired results have been achieved. And they found this to be a much better way of doing it, rather than just growing these plants and then seeing if they got the desired qualities, because you have to wait for a whole growing season for that to happen. And mold resistance is actually something that is bred into almost every commercially available grape today. And in order to make sure that it does have that mold resistance, they put it in this machine that looks at the DNA, and then they can tell, rather than having to wait for the moldy season to come around and then just hope that they did get that part of the genetics. So the two types that they used to create the cotton candy grape was actually a Concord grape, which we know from Welch's grape juice and grape jelly and that sort of thing, and another common variety called Vitis vinifera, I believe is the name. Once they have the desired grape that they want, there's no seeds in these grapes, so how the heck are they gonna make it grow? So what they actually have to do is they have to go into the grape, and they have to somehow pluck out the embryo, and then they are able to grow a plant from there. So man, food science is absolutely incredible, and they're doing some amazing work. So while I was researching for this, I actually learned that they are currently working on hybridizing more grapes to taste like different things. They're working on strawberry, mango, and pineapple flavored grapes. So watch for those on store shelves in the next few years. You heard it here first. So the hybridization process is gonna be different from plant to plant, but I just think it's so cool how they make all this, and I'm so happy that there's food scientists working on creating better tasting food, stuff that's better yielding, more pest resistant, drought resistant, all that sort of stuff. I just think it's so awesome. So next time you're in stores, and you're looking at your food to buy, just think about all the work that has gone into getting that to your table. Absolutely incredible. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Definitely hit the like button if you did. It helps me out so much in the algorithm. You guys know that. Just a little bit of effort for you, but it means so much to me. Subscribe so you can see more, and definitely comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this video. I will see you guys soon with another one.